Welcome to Marketing Monday. Woo!
Woo!
We're so happy to be here with Chris. Hey, Chris, what are we talking about today? Something about tech?
Yeah, we are excited today. We've got a special guest from Welcome Home that's going to be joining us, and we are going to be talking about how important customer success is in the tech world.
Oh yeah, because when you put a whole bunch of money into a piece of tech and then you find out nobody on your team quite knows how to use it, and then you don't have really good customer support. Oh, how
Yep,
much
we
is it worth?
surprisingly we actually like to talk to people that know how to use the technology that we're trying to use. Shocking.
It's weird. It's very strange. So we're going to talk about if you're in the market for any kind of tech, if you're thinking about buying into software, whether it's like Welcome Home or any kind of software, these are questions that you can think about asking and things you can think about looking for to find out if you're really going to be taken care of after you hand over the money. But first, this. Welcome. So you talked about our very special guest today. Well, should we go ahead and bring her on?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
All right, Emily Alexander.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes,
Welcome. And what do you do at Welcome Home?
I am the Vice President of Customer Success.
Fantastic. So you know all about customer success and why it is so important. Now, you've told me a little bit before we went on air that why this is important, and specifically when you're dealing sometimes with some of these newer tech companies. Give us a little insight into some of the downfalls.
Yeah, so I think, customer success is very well known in the tech industry, right? We have lots of pillars, lots of books, lots of research that's been done. It was actually invented or started the true customer success model in the tech industry. And I feel like we do have a lot of catching up to do in senior living. My
Mhm.
background is technology. I've been in startups my whole career. But, it's always been very important to all the companies I've worked at to, support the customer base that is paying you money, right? You think it's kind of a duh thing that everyone should be doing it. But what I've learned from being in the industry since Welcome Home started is not everybody is really adhering to those principles and those foundations of what customer success is. And really what we've learned at Welcome Home is if you support your customers and you're there to answer a phone call or just answer a question, they're that much happier and likely to stay with you. But also it just helps with adoption, right? When you have good customer success to lean on from an operator standpoint, your team's loving it, they're using it, and it's going to help with retention in the long run.
Wow, really great summary. Yes, and we're going to get into some specific things to think about when how to kind of tell and gauge when you're in that buying stage, whether you're going to be taken care of after the fact. But Emily, you mentioned your background a little bit. How long have you been with Welcome Home, and how did you get here?
Yeah, so I've been Welcome Home for 3 years. I was actually Welcome Home's first employee. So thank you.
Yeah, number one.
Which has really given me a different perspective, right? Because I've seen us from when we started in 5 communities. That's when I was brought on. We had 5 pilot communities, and our CEO, John Larisha, was supporting them. And as he will say, supporting them not well, but he was doing what he could. And he wanted to make those 5 pilots convert, become lifelong customers. Every single one of them is still with us to this day. But it's been really wonderful to see not only the company grow, but really I've been immersing myself in the industry because I have a tech background, right? My whole background has been technical implementation. This is my 3rd startup that I've been with. So I'm not from the senior living industry, but it's given me a really nice perspective because I can kind of piggyback off of the lessons I've learned from my other tech companies, seen what's worked, seen what hasn't. And then since we did kind of start slow, I was able to try a lot of different things and fail. And if that's okay, move on to the next thing, try again, to where we really found our sweet spot with customer success and how our industry wants to be supported.
Wow, I love talking about, failures and moving on and learning from them. Is such a positive attitude. Chris, going from the very first employee, I think you're the latest hire, and we
I'm
should probably talk about who the heck you are.
Yeah, I'm one of the newer team members here at Welcome Home. So excited as the VP of marketing, and so that's why I'm the co-host on Marketing Mondays with you, which is absolutely fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah, this
yeah,
this is our first one to go solo on, I think. Woo!
I think so.
Emily, you're a
So
guinea pig.
you might have seen the little intro with with John and Teddy, and we may need to switch that up a little bit. But yeah, very excited to be here. And as Emily mentioned, it's been so powerful and important just to see how that marriage of customer success, some of those that the like EQ, the importance of being able to listen to the customer, pay attention to what they're saying, and then also have that like technical skill set to be able to resolve some of the issues that they're facing, right? Like it's a very unique combination of people. And so, Emily, my question to you, because that's kind of the thing. There's lots of stories, right, where we have those horror stories of calling up a tech company and trying to get something answered, or we're trying to go through a chat and it's just an absolute nightmare. And I know that at Welcome Home, we've made tremendous progress in our world in not having that be the typical user experience. But what are the obstacles that tech companies face in trying to establish implementation, adoption, support? Like what are they going through? What are they up against to get that meaningful journey for the customer?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And I can't lie and say we've been like this forever, right? When we started, it was just me. I was customer success, I was support, I was implementation. It was just me and our CTO, Ryan, just banging out data and getting it into the system. And it was really scrappy. So number one, and this is across all tech companies, it's CEO buy-in, right? Your CEO has to have the mindset that your organization should be customer centric, right? Your customer success organization holds all the ARR. They are the reason why your customers stay or leave. So having C-suite buy-in into the customer success model is the hardest thing to do. And it's really why I'm so lucky and thankful for John LaRisha, because he has been like that since day one. And that's just a testament to me being the first employee, right? Most organizations, when they're a startup, they think the product's going to sell themselves.
Yes.
I have this great product. We can just throw sales and marketing at it and people will come. But it's the leaky bucket analogy that Salesforce actually kind of started, which is you can filter people into the top of the funnel all day. But if you have a leaky bucket at the end of the funnel, which is your customers are churning, you're not successful. And your CEO needs to understand that. And again, I'm very lucky. I have a CEO who's thought that way since day one. But that's the biggest, in my opinion, obstacle for all customer success organizations in tech. And then secondly is prioritizing what gets built next, right? When you're a startup, you got to kind of just figure it out as you go, which is what we did. Story time. I had a very overwhelmed customer success manager team. I assumed that because my background's technical implementation, that everyone could do what I could do, which is implement technically and then move into the relationship management. Those two skill sets are very different. Those are
so different. Different.
My CSMs, I think, were about to revolt, and I had to take a step back. Like, these people are overwhelmed because I'm asking them to flex a skill set that they don't have and that I'm not expecting them to have. So that's when we had to take a step out and move over implementation into its own department. So, it comes in waves. You got to figure out what works for your business and your industry. And at the end of the day, you have to listen. And like I mentioned in the beginning to Leanne, you can't be afraid to fail, right? Especially when you just got to throw things at the wall, see what sticks, and keep pushing forward. And that's what we've done. And we found what works. And again, we are by no means perfect. We always have room to grow. And we've got a lot of great things in the pipeline for 2023 to kind of elevate us and our customers. But yeah, those are two of the biggest things I think that our obstacles are. One, that C-suite buy-in, and two, figuring out when it makes sense to segment out your team and segment out those different departments and functions.
Well, it makes sense why it would take some trial and error then, because that's a lot to have to figure out.
Yeah.
And now, to my understanding, you don't call it customer support, you call it customer success. Customer success is the largest team at Welcome Home. Is that right?
It is, and
What?
it always will be.
Wow. And so that's beyond your tech, your development, your all that.
Yep.
So why are some other reasons that it's important for it to be such a big part of your company?
Yeah, and I think I alluded to this in the beginning, but moving into this industry and kind of seeing and hearing from my customer base and the people even that I get to interact with at conferences is customer support has been lacking so much in this industry. If you look at our Google reviews online, every single one mentions customer support or their customer success manager. That is how much like we put customers first. And it seems like this is a brand new thing, right? Everyone is just googly eyes over how much support we give. But to me, it's the bare minimum, right? We should be doing that. We should be supporting our customer base. One, because it keeps them happy. How frustrated do you get if you're trying to contact Delta because your flight got canceled and you can't get a hold of anybody, right?
Yes.
Angry, you get upset, you're frustrated, and it really does affect the way that you look at that brand moving forward. So we try to make sure our customers stay serviced. Any question that they have gets answered and solved. We're helping troubleshoot with integrations. We're doing sales training. Obviously, our industry has a turnover and a retention issue. So making sure that we're there to support our users is huge because it allows our regional teams and our VPs of sales to really take a step back and focus on the strategy and managing their team and not managing the CRM. So we try to make it super easy to get supported. We tell the end users, the sales directors at the communities, come to our support team. We have phone and email support. And again, it really just makes people like the CRM because they're getting their questions answered. And normally within 30 minutes, our response time is pretty quick. So we try to make it easy because it makes the lives of our operators easier when they know that their team is using it happy and they can manage that strategy rather than chasing down CRM adoption.
So I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, okay, how can we tell if we're going to have that experience before we buy?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, what kind of questions can we ask? And a couple that come to mind, you've got so much experience, you tell me.
Yeah.
A couple that come to mind are how big is how many customer support people you got? Yes. And then customer support response time. I don't know. Are there other things you would think of? Red flags or anything?
I would say response time is huge. Like I said, we try to make ours first response under 30 minutes. And that's, I think, what should happen. Support hours. So what hour time frame do I have where I can ask? We're just now like rolling out some extended hours so people can get more support. We know sales directors are working on weekends and late at night. So what are your support hours? What kind of self-service support do you have? Not everybody learns by videos. Not everybody learns by being on a webinar, right? Some people just want articles. Some people want step-by-step instructions. So what type of kind of self-service support? What kind of training do you offer? And is it unlimited, right? I know a lot of softwares out there, not just in our industry, in the tech world, charge per training, right? Our industry has too much turnover. We can't handle that, right? We can't have that. We need unlimited free trainings. And then I would say, what does your adoption look like in the first 90 days? What percentage of your customers are adopting the program in the first 90 days? Any tech company should be monitoring that. I know we do at WelcomeHome. So that should be a metric they should be able to provide for you. I'm going to rattle off two more. Net Promoter Score. It's a huge benchmark in our customer success industry. I know everybody on here has seen those surveys. If you're one of our customers, you definitely have. 1 through 10, how likely are you to recommend this product to a friend or colleague? That is a huge gauge on how people are liking it, right? You can adopt a product, but you can also hate it, right? And we see that a lot with tech companies in the industries. We've just been using it for so long. A transition's really scary. We're going to just accept what we know, right? Without realizing that there's so much more out there from like a support standpoint.
That was fantastic. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I think, your what kind of training, what kind of support, what does your timeline look like for go lives? It should be under 30 days, right? There's no reason why an implementation should take, 90 days, 120 days. And then what kind of support do you get through onboarding as well? Since that is a huge sticking point for our industry because people are scared to transition because transitions normally don't go well. So kind of going into and asking the questions around those processes so that you know what to expect.
Yeah, we need to make a download of those things. Those are fantastic.
I'll make a checklist for you guys and send it over.
And and Leanne, I mean, you're hitting on something of why Emily's role is so important, right? Like that's why the team, has so much focus, because all of those things that she mentioned, right? It's like that's everything after you've made the decision to buy, and it's like the ongoing. It's the limitless. Like, how do we continue making that process just easier and easier for the customer? And Emily's background in tech, knowing that's what the tech world is doing. When we talk about NPS, when we talk about these things, we're saying, yeah, what's happening in the tech world at large that we want to implement as a best-in-class product, so that we're constantly measuring ourselves against these other people to make sure that we're improving all the time.
Yep. Well, and speaking of tech and senior living and the differences and the similarities and trying to make them match up, can you speak to the fact that you are in a very specific niche? I never know which way to say that. And it's senior living, and you've got your tech people on the one side and your senior living people on the one side. Does everybody need to understand senior living to give the best customer support, or how's that work?
Yes, 100%. On day one of our orientation, for anyone on the customer success team, they could get full industry training, right? And we continuously train them on the industry, right? What are the terms that you're going to hear?
Yep.
Who are the key players? What do the structures of operators look like, and owners, right? From day one, we are immersing them in the senior living culture. And I think that's it, Leanne, right? We're running a tech company. So a lot of the people that are working at Welcome Home have tech backgrounds because we're managing a technology, right? So that is the skill that I need. And we do have people from the senior living industry as well, but I can teach people senior living, right? Easy. It's one of the most wonderful industries in the world. I fell in love with it the moment I started, and I'll probably never leave.
Same.
I can teach people that, right? You can't teach specific tech skills or that kind of person that you need in specific roles. Some of those skills you just can't teach. They have to have them. So we do a lot, right? We do training from day one around the industry. We have them sit in on as many webinars. I know my team's sitting on this right now, probably. We're constantly sharing content back and forth, but even above and beyond that, we try to get them into the communities. We are based in Atlanta, Georgia, we have a ton of communities in the area. So we try to get them to go on site. One year we did cookie drop-offs to all of our communities just to, put that face to a name. It's always better meeting in person, as you guys know. We also will sponsor our clients. So we allocate a specific amount of revenue every year to sponsor their conferences. So I was just in California with one of our clients, and we did an hour-long presentation around, best practices for executive directors in Welcome Home. So we try to immerse ourselves with our customers. And then at the end of the day, I got approached the other day after a conference, and they're like, how long have you been in senior living? You speak about it like you've been in it forever. Really, truly, it's just because I listen to all of my customers. I've learned the most about senior living by just listening on phone calls with my teams and my customer base. And that's what I encourage my team to do, right? I don't expect you to be an expert in senior living, but I expect you to know enough to support your customer base. Last year, we did a company offsite with the majority CSMs in our customer success team. We brought in a consultant, and she did a day in the life of a sales director, right? Because you have to have empathy for the people that you're supporting, or else you won't really be able to support them in the best way. So really getting my team in the mindset of, what does a sales director's day look like? What does a VP of sales day look like? And honestly, it changed a lot of their perspectives. Like, wow, this job's hard. This industry is not easy. And we can do everything we can to support them if we know what they're going through.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant, because you really can't know what the day in the life is like, and you can't go out there and work 2 jobs and figure it out and have them come in and talk about it. That's brilliant. Chris, I'm going to turn things over to you for a second. I've been talking a long time. Do you have any last questions?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, so I love that Emily keeps coming back. Emily, you keep referring to this concept of listening. And I know we asked you earlier, obstacles that tech companies face in, establishing like customer success. And to me, that core message is not listening, right? Like ultimately they have a product in mind. They think everyone needs that product, and maybe it's a really good idea, but in terms of listening, to the feedback from people and saying, oh, okay, we thought we had a good idea. How good of an idea, how good of a product actually was this? And so you keep mentioning that. And I know that, that's kind of something that we continue to practice. We talk about when John started Welcome Home, he went on this listening tour just to find out what are the pain points, what are the things that we're missing in, in a senior living CRM. And so then from that point going like, man, this is made easy, made for you. And a phrase that I've started using is we're still listening, we're still learning. And so thinking about that in terms of customer success, what are some of those things that, thinking about, like, what are we still listening to? What are we still learning? What are the things that are important to us today that you're implementing with the team?
Yeah. Well, one of our core values here at Welcome Home, our core values are listen, care, commit. Listen is number one. It always has been, right? And I think it's because John started the company that way. And we continue to do that. So we have developed a customer advisory board, have about 20 executives on that, ranging from regionals all the way up to CEOs. We meet with them quarterly and just show them our thoughts for our roadmap and make sure that we're on the same page as to what are they thinking about and is this going to help in anything that's disruptive in the industry. So we really don't, I always say, build blind. There's a lot of software companies out there. I used to work for one where there's a bunch of people in a room that aren't talking to the customers and they're making decisions about the product. Yeah. That is not how it should work. I sit on our product team. I am in the room every time we're talking about our roadmap. And honestly, our CTO will tell you this, my voice is one of the most important voices in the room because I know how our customer base is using our system. So having a seat at the table from a customer success standpoint is so important. And I think it's what a lot of companies get wrong. I've been with companies where they built a feature and they'll come and roll it out. And I'm like, that didn't solve what the customer's asking.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Right.
That feature's never going to be you. So, I think that's the big thing is when we're thinking about building more and more features in our product, customer voice comes first. Customer advisory board, we use it to make sure our priorities are correct and in line with what they think our priorities are. And then we allow people to leave comments on that Net Promoter Score survey I was talking about earlier. And on a quarterly basis, we pull all those comments. There's a lot of great feedback in there. And the product team and I sit down together and figure out, are there any quick wins that we can push across the finish line to make our customers' lives easier? And then we really listen to feedback, right? My customer success managers, they all have the ability to give feedback to our product team, and they're constantly taking all that information that they're learning from their customers and bringing it to product to help make our product better. Again, we know we're not senior living experts, so we lean on the people who are using our product and are senior living experts to tell us what the future of Welcome Home should be, which again is a dream as a customer success leader, but it truly is how all tech companies should operate, in my opinion.
I am as you're talking, I'm having flashbacks to horror stories of tech companies. Like
me too.
When you're like,
me too.
Yeah.
Okay, I just had one when I was trying to book a rental car in California, and it was like a nightmare. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing was like, oh, it's geared towards keeping me from actually being able to do this thing. Like I wanted to cancel, and it was a nightmare. So I jumped in there, Leanne. But yeah, same thing where I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. And it is all those times when you want to tell somebody, this is ridiculous. You want to do something a different way. But if you tell that person you're talking to on the phone, it's never going to get back to anybody who's going to actually change something. So the fact that you have that built in is brilliant.
And committing to it too, right? Like a lot of companies will say, yep, we're going to get to that. We're going to do it next month. And then it's next month. And then the month after and the month after. So we try to be very honest and communicating with our customer base. If they send us a feature request, we will say, well, we're going to put it in and we'll let you know when it gets brought up again. But we do make sure that everybody knows that their feedback is very well, taken and always applied because we listen. We always will.
So
shout out. Go ahead, Leigh.
Yeah. Well, you just ruined everybody in tech world's life because you've shown that is possible. It has not seemed possible. But yeah, Chris, I think you're going to get to Kelly's comment.
Yeah, I was. So shout out Kelly Strandberg. She's got a question. And I think I'm going to reframe this question a little bit, but essentially, Emily, what's a really great customer success story that you could share with us to highlight what you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm going to give two, if that's okay.
Love
The
it.
first
Do
one.
it.
Okay, first one, and I wasn't here for this, but I came in right when it was done. But our first customer ever, she told the VP of Sales told John LaRisha, she said, "I'm going to give you my least tech savvy community, and if they can adopt it, you've won me over," which I love, because that shows that even people who have been using the same CRM for 30 years that don't want to change can still adopt Welcome Home. It's one of my favorite stories to tell, because I think, you get nervous. You're like, oh, like this is the ultimate test, right? Someone who doesn't like tech, doesn't want to switch CRMs, and getting them to love your CRM is just, it is the best thing in the world. And then I have another one. It's not like the most like sunshine story, but I think it really shows, the impact we're making here. So, integrations can be tough, right? Integrations, when you're relying on other systems, it can be tough. And we had one particular client who we were trying to figure out a few things for. And, through all of the things that we were working on and trying to figure out for them, I got on the call with their CSM and myself, and she said, Emily, I just want to tell you, one, your customer success team goes above and beyond and is the best I've ever seen in the senior living industry. But number two, this has completely changed our sales team's structure and the amount of time they're saving, and has completely changed their entire trajectory. And even through issues, right, they are seeing the impact that our company is bringing to their team and our product is bringing to their team. So I love that, because we can't just assume everything's going to be sunshine and butterflies, because if you assume that, you're pretty jaded, right? It's tech things happen. But the fact that we can still kind of push through those things and really get people who are true champions of Welcome Home and can see the benefit and see the metrics. That's all that matters to me, right? There's going to be issues, as long as we work through them, and as long as we become, create champions out of those, which we do. And it's beautiful to see, because in most cases, in most tech companies that I've been at, you see those issues, you as a customer success manager or leader are trying to get them fixed, and you're getting pushback from the other side, and then you lose a customer because you've tried everything you can. But at Welcome Home, it's very different. It's very much all hands on deck, and let's work through all the issues, and we always come out on top and always get it resolved. And at that point, we have a champion, because we've walked through it with them.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. This has been fascinating. And thank you, Kelly, for that question. Hey, Chris,
Yes.
let's say people want to know more about Welcome Home. Do you have like a demo or something that they could sign up for?
We do have a demo. So you can go straight to our website, and we've got the address there, welcomehomesoftware.com/request a demo. And we would love to talk to you more. And it's great that we've got, obviously we've got demos that are available, but even beyond that, getting connected to the support. Shout out to people that are on, that are listening today, the people that have helped create these stories with Emily. And so they don't get a lot of love, current customers. It's like we do these like request a demo thing, and that's cool. But if you are a current customer, if you're a client of ours, we just want to say thank you again. And if you have any questions, right, I feel like we got to land there. If you've got any questions about the product, about the tech, we are absolutely still listening to you as well. We want your feedback. We so appreciate all the fantastic Google reviews that we receive. And I know when Emily and I were kind of crafting, like, what are we going to talk about today? Just the encouragement to any tech company. There's a lot of up and coming tech companies in the senior living space. And so, collaborating on what makes a best in class tech company successful, and really want to drive that home from the beginning for us, making that customer success function so vital to what we do on an ongoing basis. That's the win. We need to continue to stress that, we're listening to what the feedback is from our customers, what they have to say.
Yep, absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you both so very much. This has been a great episode. Look forward to next month when we talk some more about all things CMS, senior living, and tech. So we will see you all next time. Thanks for joining us on Marketing Monday.